to tell us your predictions. It's the first repo rate decision for the year. What's it likely to be?
I think it's probably going to be one of the closest calls that we've seen over the last couple of months with the voting of the Monetary Policy Committee. They were really almost 50-50 split to go either stay or decrease the interest rate. So I think it's going to be a very close call. And although I'm hoping for a cut, I think chances are that they probably will leave it unchanged, mostly driven as a result of some of the global uncertainty that we're seeing. We've seen some weakening in the rand, unfortunately, the crisis between the US and Iran and how that will play out and impact on oil prices. So that might impact where they see the trajectory of inflation going in the next couple of months. They certainly have room because inflation is at historically low rates, but we also know that the Reserve Bank is of the opinion that it's not their job to grow the economy. It should come from fiscal policy.
Domestically, what are the flashpoints? You have the finance minister himself being wrapped over the knuckles by his own party for questioning it about why it wants to nationalize that very institution.
Lots of uncertainty, lots of noise at the moment around the economic environment. You spoke earlier about Davos and the president not going there. We know the last 2 years he's been a very strong presence there, and it's been really important for him to actually send that message to international investors, and it's something that was very high on his agenda.
Can I butt in there quickly? We now know that he's not going to Davos, but the plan was for him to go. What does that do for the weight of the South African delegation there?
I do think that the Minister of Finance is also well known and well respected, but I think given how hard the President has worked to build trust again in South Africa with international investors, it's not a positive message. I think it could potentially send the message that there's more uncertainty and that he doesn't have the support to actually do what is necessary to implement policy.
Add to that, and I know I'm completely digressing, talking politics now, but add to that the warning from the veterans of the ANC overnight that he's in danger of being toppled. What does that do?
Absolutely. Also, lots of noise, lots of uncertainty. We've seen historically high levels of political uncertainty in South Africa and globally. You know, there's so much noise in the system. So if you combine what is happening globally with what we have in South Africa, we have a pretty tough year ahead. It's a watershed year. And either we're going to make the right decisions and it's going to turn everything around, or we are heading for a pretty tough time.
And look at the flashpoints in terms of job retentions. You have Massmart saying that they plan to retrench some 1,400, if not 500. Then Telkom is the latest. What is going on?
We're sitting with an economy that is, well, last year probably grew at only around 0.4%. And this year will probably grow in a similar vein. That we saw that the IMF said that the economy will only grow at 0.9% this year, not even 1%. So there's simply no room for companies to create jobs. They have to look at surviving. What is interesting, though, that is we've seen high levels of investment from private sector. So there are portions of the economy. In fact, the growth in the last quarter of last year was pretty strong. So there are pockets of the economy that's seeing a turnaround maybe in 6 months to a year. So it's not all negative news, and there are some private sector components that are positive.
It's very uplifting that you say that, especially coming off the back of the Busa conference with the president where he was invited. But they're not very happy with him because they're saying enough with the positive messaging. We actually want to see action.
Yes, I think there was so much expectation of him coming in and, you know, introducing changes, and he's been trying to, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I mean, some of the things that you mentioned earlier in terms of him just trying to survive, I think has made it very, very difficult for him to actually implement what is in his head and what he would like to do. But there's frustration building up, I think, from everywhere because the expectations was just so high. If I think about 2 years ago when he had his first State of the Nation, you know, everybody was thinking, okay, now things are going to change, and it hasn't happened, and it's a mix of factors. So, but there is some frustration at the moment.
Yeah, let's hope for the best. Thank you very much, Lulu Krugel. She is a chief economist at PricewaterhouseCoopers.